Live again. Here we go. Gonna set up my other phone here and see where we're at. Here we are. Greg Beeman. Do I know you, Greg? Welcome. Hey, Craig. Still pissed about this top end that. Arrgh. You're new. Well, welcome. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to heckle at any time. All I'm doing is taking apart stuff and basically hanging out here in the basement. Have any of the videos been helpful? I hope so. Hey, Ken. So, guys, I'm really thinking that this cylinder head was busted because of the loose screws. That's really got to be the only reason. And somebody mentioned Jehager one, always helpful. Well, thank you. I'm glad they're helpful. Somebody mentioned possibly hydrolocking, and I was thinking, well, if it was running a little bit rich and it wasn't combusting or whatever, then yeah, fluids are not exactly compressible sometimes, and it's going to then push the head up, or tend to, especially if something's loose. It's possible, but I think that's theory, that's conjecture. I was just trying to see if there was a step here that this, I was thinking maybe the case halves, I didn't put them together right or whatever. No, this is flat. That's friggin' flat. I can't feel any transition or anything. If you put a straight edge on it, it's flat. Craig, what video did you do? Did I miss something? I think I'll put this away for the moment. I'm just going to be depressed about this for a little while. By the way, the 394 runs really good. Ran it today. Took a grand total of 2 cuts with it. It's potent. Very nice. Very, very nice. Like that bolt, missing head. Lovely. Okay. So all these go with that 372. Put that down there. And there are other parts over there. You know what? Just going to put this all off to the side here. And that way I can use this box for the blower that I got to take apart tonight. Little box over there, throw it over there. So for those of you that are new, especially Greg, you'll come to realize that there's nothing organized about what I'm doing. I'm just kind of following my nose. And if you guys want to watch and hang out and ask questions, you're more than welcome. Some of it's going to be boring. I can about guarantee that. So Craig, good deal. Just replace the base gasket and move on. Yeah, if the bearings are solid, lube them up and go, huh? Nice. Just gonna put some of this stuff away here. Hey, David. No cylinders destroyed. Bad. Okay, so new top end basically, but at least it was just the gasket that was bad. Love saws like that, huh? We're gonna do the blower, I think. Right, I actually already have a box for this, so that's kind of dirty. Right, so I need a new switch for this. I should probably get some new spark plugs, some new fuel filters for these things. The one out in the shed that I put all back together runs, but it's boggy. And how can it be boggy with a brand stinking new carburetor? Maybe I'll have to put a new fuel filter in it. It looked fine, but I'll put a new fuel filter in it, new spark plug, and maybe that'll help. I don't know. So yeah, David, that 394 runs like crazy. It feels quite potent. Check in back of muffler area for leaky base gasket. Ken, you talking to me? Yeah, Dave is back. Of course he is. And Greg, yeah, I've learned a lot from Walt too. Adirondacks is here. Yeah, there's a surprise. He's always here. So, all right, well, let's start taking this apart. I figured all this is really dirty. I might as well take all the plastics off of here first and see if that works. A little different method of teardown. Because I'm going to take all the plastics off, clean them individually, then I can deal with the motor in a minute. Now I'm wondering if I forgot that screw on the other one. Alright, whatever. Oh, okay, the 576. That's where we found the leak. Got it. Well, I found a leaky base gasket too, but then again, it wasn't the gasket; it was the cylinder head cracked. Who missed last? Oh yeah, Craig, you missed last night. The stupid. I think the head bolts came loose and the cylinder head cracked an ear off. Now I gotta get that off. I think this is ready, Lucy. Yep. And these three. That's lucky, Craig. That's good. So this is my third one of these that I'm attempting to take apart. And I don't really know kind of what the order is necessarily. So I'm trying to figure all this out as to what the overall order of removal is. Ah, you know what? These two. The ignition coil wires need to come off. Looks like those are holding things on. And nice thing about these ignition coil, these wires, the spade connectors are different sizes, so you know where to put them. I did take this apart earlier to scavenge that switch, so I'll need to get a new switch. The only other thing here that I think is holding us on are the fuel lines. Okay, maybe I just take it from the top. Is this dirty or what? Don't worry, I'll clean it, guys. Come on. Oh. Okay, well, great. When fuel lines won't release. This is incredible. That's why I grease up the nipples before I put new fuel lines on. Because getting these darn things off is not fun. There. Now the motor just comes out. And the nipple that I broke was the one up here, but that's part of the carburetor. I think I'll just get a new carburetor anyway. I'm pretty sure whatever carburetor's under here is not good. And the motor, I think, looks okay. It's just really carboned up. I wonder if it's worth it to pull that apart. I don't know. Clean the whole thing. I gotta go dunk this. Yeah, this is the one I borrowed the kill switch from. So, need a kill switch, need a carburetor. I'm wondering, since we have the new head sitting around, maybe I'll just throw on the new head. I don't feel any play in the bearings. Get my 8mm out. Just watched Terrell's new video. He was actually redoing a carburetor on a 180C chainsaw. I never get lucky with carburetors. It's just, I don't know what it is. He pulls the carburetor out, oh, there's a little debris in here. Puts a carb kit back in and it works perfectly. You're like, great. Good for him that works. I don't know. Just rare that I get that lucky with a carburetor. Okay, the green gasket next. Yeah, it's kind of oogly. Should stick the whole thing in the ultrasonic, huh? Jeez. That comes off. I'm going to pull this apart and then I'll see whether or not it's actually worth it to do a new head. Because if the head still looks good, then maybe we'll leave it. So new kill switch, new carburetor. Oh, I can't get to that one? I gotta take the flywheel off first. Jerks. Does this have... G3, hi. What's going on? I know, all this for a blower. No, I did not get a new plug. I'll end up at the dealer tomorrow and order a bunch of new stuff. all this for a blower. Is it worth it? Probably not. But for you guys, it's worth it. I do this for you guys. Of course. I'm going to put these screws back on here just so I don't lose them. I guess I'll take the ignition coil off. Okay. Guess I'm doing bearings and seals too. How does the piston look? Carboned, goobered, but not scored, so I can reuse the piston. We'll just clean it all up, put new bearings and seals on here, and put this back together. This head looks better. It's just carboned up like crazy. Gasket. Two nubs towards the exhaust, looks like. Which I think I have a new base gasket, so I won't worry about it that much. Interesting. So I guess I get a whole pile of stuff here for the ultrasonic. While I'm doing this, I should have made a list, so let's make a list. Carb, seals, 2X plugs, 2X fuel filter. So bearings and seals, that's no big deal. New carburetor would be nice, new fuel filter, new plug. That's probably all this is going to need. I could do rings too, but or I could just ask and see if they have just pistons. And circlips. Extra. Anybody think of anything else? You need a dozen cans of PC duster area. Well, let's see. How's this for carboned up? Let me see if I can get a picture of this. Can you guys see inside there? Definitely gonna have to clean that out. Other than that, I think the cylinder head's good. So I guess now I'll just I got to take that piston off, and then that'll come right out. I think. Lovely. What are the odds of me busting another one of those circlips? Ugh. NGK CMR 6H is the designation for this. CMR 6H. Yes, you're right, Ken. Pretty wide looking gap. Ken, you got a gap spec for one of these? I have an ultrasonic, Larry. So I'm usually okay with just that. It would be nice to have a parts cleaner though. I got a 032 gap. Yeah, usually I think of 020. I do that for the saws on the BPMR 7As. That's kind of a wide gap. I'm just going to get new. Should be 028. Yeah, so this is a little wide. All right, okay. So let me go throw all these things into the ultrasonic, anything that's relevant here. So this is relevant. The carburetor I'm not going to worry about. I'll just get new. I don't usually throw ignition coils in the ultrasonic. I wash them by hand. The rest of the blower, I probably should just hit this with the hose tomorrow. That would make sense, you know? Okay, yeah. Yeah, since I already have, I had ordered the new bearings anyway. I ordered 4, just for the heck of it, instead of just 2. So I've got bearings anyway for this thing. I guess we might as well use them, you know. Just need to get this thing out of here. And I'm thinking maybe my John Riley pliers would work. Maybe I can grip. Oh yeah. Beauty. Check that out. Again, big thank you to John Riley and his idea for making pliers like this. You just got to grind the pliers so they have just a little gap in the end. You can just go in there and grab the clip. That's great. course, will that actually come out? Who knows? Nope, that's too big. Don't want to do that. There you go. Number 2 screwdriver works. Pins out. You know, there's machine marks all the way on the, you know, even though there's carbon, there's machine marks all the way here on this piston. There's a little bit of wear on the intake, but that's probably because of some dirt getting in there. I'm thinking of reusing this. Maybe they can just get rings. New rings? What do you think? What do you guys think? Reuse the piston? Save the head kit for another saw. Probably a good idea. Ooh, that rubber feels hard in the seal. Boy, that's a good thing we took those out. Guess we just pull the bearings and call it a night on the blower. And I got one other thing to do with the 394. Truck driving Melon, what's going on, man? Give you a shout out on the Huzzle 660 build. Happy wrenching, thanks. The dirt is killing me. Surgeon even done disassembling. How does the 394 run? The 394 runs awesome. If it's nice weather tomorrow, maybe I'll do a quick live event outside and show you guys how the 394 runs. It is very nice. It idles nice. I would just idle all day. Feels nice and potent. Good response. Very nice. Really happy with it so far. But I gotta make sure to friggin' tighten those head bolts. Right, David? Michael Turner says reuse it. Okay, so I guess we have a consensus. Reuse it. So what I'll do is I'll clean it. I'll make sure the piston's cleaned really well, and see if I can get some new rings. So I guess I'll ask the guys at the steel dealership whether I can get new rings. Let me go put this over in the ultrasonic, and then we'll pull. You want to pull bearings off? We can pull bearings off, I guess. Put this stuff in the ultrasonic too. Do I want to use that? I may reuse the. Maybe not. Maybe not. Ultrasonic. Here we go. Let's pull off the bearings, and I'll come back over here with the 394 and show you guys what's going on. Okay, so a little bit of cleanup. We'll pull bearings off. Let's put this over here because this is all super dirty. Questions, comments while I'm cleaning stuff up? Live takes away the stupid downloads. Well, Live takes away from me having to edit everything. And it allows me to interact with you guys, which I would much rather do. Have some nice live interaction, you know? That makes sense to me. odds of me forgetting how to assemble this darn thing are very high, though. By the time I get all the steel parts, like end of next week. Look at the dirt. Okay. Let's fix some of the dirt. Okay. Now I gotta figure out what's going on with all these screws and whatnot here. What did I do here? Okay, this list stays there. Got all kinds of nice screws here. Actually, I gotta organize all these. Old 200T bearing, no toss. Okay. This put there. Actually, this can go here. I have a place for everything, right? Okay. Now we can pull this off and use this for pulling bearings off the crank. Recommended solvent in the ultrasonic. Actually, Mastermind likes mean green, so that's what I've been using in the tank. Be careful if you want to use like a Zep Ultra Purple or something like that. It's a great solvent, but it etches aluminum. What is your head count on live feeds? Overall, I don't know, but we had a record last night of like 40, 41, whatever it was. And I had to go to bed. Really aggravating me, but Simple Green 50%. You know, I tried Simple Green. I didn't like it. Not for a solvent. Yeah. I didn't like I like Simple Green, but not in the tank, if that makes any sense. So assuming you want to reuse your crank here, and if you're gonna change the bearing, you need a bearing puller. So these are actually Chinese bearings, and they've been there for a while. So I don't know how many people are going to trust those, but I'm not. Plus I have Natchies sitting around right now, so these are 6201s. I've got Natchies sitting around, so you might as well use those, you know. So So has anybody seen me? You guys have seen me do this before, so maybe some of you haven't seen it, but it's not really exciting. Of course, until something goes kaflowy on you, right? I have to go just a shade. We're getting there. I forget who had the video. I think it was Mitch Weber. I think it was M. Weber that had the video on how to do this with just heat. I've tried it. It did not work for me. I would much rather have done this with just heat rather than get this stupid toolkit, but after trying it, it definitely did not work for me. You gotta get a good bite on the bearing. And not all of these are that easy. I think the ultrasonic looks okay. It works. It's okay. It isn't great. Think of it as pre-wash, a wash assistant. It'd be nice if you just threw everything in there and it came out pristine. You just pull it out and you're great. But it's not quite the way it is. It definitely helps though. It saves me at least a little bit of time washing. Yeah, the splitter's almost too big, but the height here is what you need because of this long shaft here. See this? Okay. Now, if I remember right, this was the hard one last time. Again, a good bite on the bearing. Sometimes just this will lift the bearing up. There you go. And the one mistake I made last time was there was lots of debris around, and there's no debris today, but there was lots of debris around, and when I pulled the bearing up, the debris got in there and scored the crank, so I couldn't use it. So don't make that mistake. Right, okay. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, I definitely like my ultrasonic. It's not quite as good as I was hoping. And I've tried orange cleaner, I've tried simple green, I've tried mean green, purple degreaser, um, pine sol, laundry detergent, all kinds of other stuff in there. So I've tried a bunch of different things. I think the mean green is probably the best for the ultrasonic anyway. There are definitely other, things you can use in there too. So whatever. I mean, it's stainless steel. You're not going to hurt it. It's just a stainless steel tub. So you can try whatever you want in there. OxyClean, yeah, maybe. Okay, so this is pretty good to go. So the blower is apart. I just need to go get the stuff now. I can take apart my splitter, put that back, and then we can look at the 394 really quickly. Carb, no, I'm just going to get a new one, David. There's no point in doing that. Do I get my rags or towels for free? No. Yeah, the kit that I just used, I've used a number of times. I think it was like $40. And for sure, this gets me my money's worth, like guaranteed. I've certainly gotten my money's worth out of it, and I'm going to continue to get my money's worth out of it. I haven't used the big head on here yet, and basically a lot of those kits pay for themselves in the first shot. All the bearing pullers and things, and it just all those type of kits, they pretty much pay for themselves first go around. Some things I won't buy at Harbor Freight, like we tried some Sawzall blades. They were terrible. Like terrible. They didn't cut anything. I'm sure there's tons of other stuff that's just like, don't get it at Harbor Freight. But why is there? No, never mind. That's that. Yeah. I was wondering why there's a Husky bar there, but that's from the 372. Okay. Here's what you guys are missing. The 394. Where do I get all the equipment I'm repairing? Well, let's see. The blowers, I got 3 blowers from one of my tree guys. That's Steve. The 372 that's busted, that comes from Seth. Usually between Steve and Seth, I have plenty of stuff to fix between those 2 guys. Seth might actually be on tonight. I don't know, but it might be past his bedtime too. He gets up early. So, if you get some guys that are pretty hard on their equipment, believe me, there's there's plenty of work to do. So I took this chain. This chain was noodling oak. This is the one I was counting strokes on for anybody that was on the other night. I was noodling oak with this thing. I ended up cutting some pine and then missing the fact that there was some asphalt shingles on the other side laying down there, and caught that, so had to sharpen it up a bit. And then I noodled some more oak the other day, and I just touched it up, I think just yesterday. So we'll get to play with this probably tomorrow. I literally took 2 cuts with it today and let it idle for a bit. The one thing that's kind of annoying, gloves. Good topic. I know a thing or two about gloves. My favorite? The company is called Ansell. And Microtouch. It's the Microtouch nitriles. They used to make a Microtouch Smooth. Literally, like all literally all nitrile gloves have texture to them, and that kind of drives me nuts. But the Microtouch nitriles from Ansell, they used to have a Smooth. It was discontinued. But these are a little bit thicker than your average. Well, we use these for dental examinations, but they're a little thicker than your average glove in the dental office, and it just gave me more confidence that I had more glove there, and I've really enjoyed having these. But it took me a while to search through gloves that to find one that I liked. These are nice. What thickness are they? I don't know if there's a reference here. No, there's no thickness thing. I could tell you they're a little thicker than average. I've tried citrus cleaner in the ultrasonic, and it's just didn't work for me. So anyway, the one thing on the 394 here that wasn't quite right, the decompression valve here doesn't seem to pop in and out. So I can click it, but then I have to pull hard on it to get it out, and I don't know. At least there's one thing to check, and that's to make sure that there's actually patency into the cylinder head to make sure that thing pops out. Maybe there isn't patency, so. Crappy that I have to take all this off, but whatever. One of the things that goes often missing, this rubber bumper up top here. If this is missing, then the top cover hits and starts to melt, and then just sticks and melts all over everything. Crappy. Okay, so off. Pull the decomp off. 13 millimeter. Now what you can do is you can just check for patency here. Like a 1/16 inch drill into the head. So yeah, that goes into the head. Don't drop that into the head. So yeah, so there is patency, which means this valve is just not actuating properly. It's too tight. Junk, garbage. I think that's an old X-Torque valve, so if it's not actuating the way you want it to actuate, toss it and just get new. And I don't think I have a new one sitting around, so I'll have to wait on that. Plug it. Well, actually, I'll leave that up to David. David, you want me to plug it, or do you want the decomp? I got lots of plugs. The audience has spoken. There he is. He wants a decomp, so I got to order the decomp. Great. I can never seem to keep those in stock either. I always run through them. Don't blame him. I actually started it today without. I pulled it out and started it, and it did start just fine. It wasn't like having a 200-pound compression saw. What I think I'm going to do while I'm here, because I did start it, run it, it ran good. Check the head bolts, right? Good. Everybody's... Who wants me to do that? That's not loose. That's not loose. That's not loose. And this one, not loose. That's fine. Big Giant had the my 660. I do like. You know, it's pretty impressive saw for what it is. My favorites still are these 394s. But I'll tell you what, that 660 I've got set up with a 28-inch bar, one of the Chinese bars. My hand goes to that saw pretty often. I'll tell you what, if I'm cutting cants off the mill, I grab that saw pretty often. Right now, I don't even have my 394s typically set up with bars. Johnny Vance, hello. Hi. Howdy. Welcome. We're just hanging out at this point. All right, so I need to order a decomp. Um, what else? Order decompression valve. Go down to steel, order the other stuff. For Seth, I forgot to put this on your 385. So, Seth, if you're watching, we'll give this to you Tuesday. Great. Always forget those darn things. Okay, what else? What else do I have for you guys tonight? I think that was really about it. I was really surprised last night. There was 40 people on. I couldn't stay. Really bums me out. Definitely got some ordering to do. And then what else? What can we talk about? Anybody want to talk about something? Otherwise, I'm going to go upstairs and kind of crap out for the rest of the night. 46 people, David. That's awesome. Nowhere local, you might get a decomp. Well, I have my local steel dealer, but the Husky decomps are better. And if I go and get one from a dealer, it's going to cost me a lot. So I can, I mean, yeah, I can go get one, but go watch the Beaners. Truck driving. Thanks for the live feed. You're welcome. Go watch the Beaners. I guess I could do that. I didn't even hear whether they won last night. Who won last night? I'm just watching the comments here to see what you guys want to talk about, if anything. I can think of like anything else to, because not much is going on. I'm just waiting on parts for a bunch of stuff right now. Boston won. Okay, so tonight is tonight's a crucial night. Okay. David, you don't have one laying around in your parts saws? No, I have one laying around in a saw out. I can go grab one off of one of my saws. That's not that big of a deal, which I may end up doing. Yeah, I may just do that. But then I still have to order, you know. Heartbreaking for Diner fans, up 4-0 in the 6th. Oh. Oh. Yeah, the plug probably at 17 bucks, yeah. HL Supply has been generous to me, so I get it for a better price than that. Because, yeah, I have the nice guy discount with them, but I'll just order through HL Supply. 8-4 Boston. Oh. Oh. Was it one of those 2-out home runs that they hit? Probably, right? And most of their runs come with 2 outs. I used to get up and I used to hate getting to the plate with 2 outs. That was terrible. Standing at the plate with 2 outs. I remember the last hit. I remember fouling one up, and I think the first the first baseman caught it. I just lost it. I was absolutely beside myself. I was like 13 years old, and I just lost the game for the entire team. At least that's how I felt at the time. It was devastating. The only thing I hated worse was striking out. Hated striking out. hated it, pit of my soul. I went an entire Little League season only striking out twice. Pretty sure I cried both times. Just bad. Fly out, fine. Crappy, but oh well, you know. Okay, I'll go watch the Beaners. It does feel good. Yes, it does feel good when you get a pitcher. Believe me. So, okay. So, in case anybody doesn't know this quick story, um, there haven't been too many things in my life that I've quit. Uh, Recently, work was one of them, but that's beside the point. Um, I quit baseball. It was my freshman year in high school, and I was pitching. They actually drafted me for the varsity team to pitch because I had a pretty good curveball. And I could also throw overhand, three quarter, and full sidearm if I needed to. So hitters didn't really know where it was coming from. So we here in Connecticut, just it was brutally cold. A lot of practices. It was brutally cold. We go out practice, and we weren't that good. We were definitely not that good, but whatever. So eventually we started having games. First three games we went to, I was the I had literally gotten a grand total of one inning of pitching time, one inning, and I was the only guy in the entire team that had never gotten it at bat. Coach never put me up, no at bats. Coach came over to me and he says, "Matt, I'm gonna move you down to junior varsity." Yeah, that was Barlow. And I told him I quit. He's like, "You'll get your chance." I'm like, "No, no, it doesn't work like that." I had a crappy. It was when I had a guy steal from first to second while I was on the mound, just holding the ball. He went from first to second. I threw the ball at second base, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. And guess who wasn't there? My teammates weren't there. I had another guy. A guy got up, hit the ball to the outfield, right to one of my outfielders, right to him. He dropped it. So somehow I got blamed for a bunch of stuff or whatever. Never had my chance. Okay, it's fine. So I ended up focusing on music instead, and I don't regret it. But I did like baseball. I just don't follow it that much. And staying up till 4 a.m. the other night sucked. Hey, Leonard. True Bastard told me to drop and do 20. Ken, can you drop and do 20 now? I don't know if I could. Ugh. Tried out with the Montreal Expos and the Cincinnati Reds. Really? That's cool. Me and another guy ran the 60-yard dash and 7.0 twice. Sports are overrated. You know what I think? A lot of sports. Um, I see a lot of kids playing all kinds of different sports in high school and college and whatnot. And what I'm amazed by now, as I get older, is that a lot of these sports essentially have no longevity, which I find very interesting. So, like field hockey, if you are a 40-year-old female, the odds of you going out and playing field hockey are at that point in your life are like minimal, near on nil. But if you're a 40-year-old lady or guy, you might go out and play softball. There are adult leagues and whatnot around. Um, you might go out and do that. So certain sports have longevity and others don't. I find that very interesting. I'm kind of surprised that nobody really mentions that to kids when it's like, hey, let's go play soccer. Got nothing against soccer, but I just don't have a lot of friends that are playing in leagues. I'm sure that there are leagues, but I don't have a lot of friends that are playing in leagues. Tennis, different. Um, there's tennis courts and clubs all around here, so tennis would be one of those sports that might have better longevity. Rugby. Well, I don't want to. I don't have a. I don't wish to get my teeth kicked in, so I'm good. Right, screw participation trophies. Yeah, I know. Spectator sports and outlet for peaceful aggression. It could be. You know, it's something for people to do. We stay busy by doing sports, and you just feel like another sheep. I get it. Bubba, new subscriber. Hey, Bubba. Do you prefer working at Steel, Makita, or Husqvarna? Do you prefer owning any certain brand? You flip everything. Um, and hi, Dana. How's it going? And yes, I can fix teeth. My joints describe high school soccer played. I have a bum ankle because of soccer. Show the green saw, Matt. Hang on. I'll show the green saw. To answer Bubba's question, green saw, everybody can see it. Good. Green saw. Yeah. Anyway. Um, to answer Bubba's question, there are certain saws that I like working on because I'm familiar with them. Um, I tend to stay away from steel. In general, I took apart an MS-290 twice, and I hate working on that saw. And that was, I think, one of the first steels that I worked on. Left a really bad taste in my mouth. The 200T isn't bad, so I'll work on 200Ts all day long, but I'm not really brand specific, but I do have certain preferences for certain things. So, like the 394 here on the bench, and Dana, yes, Barlow, but I only did 3 years of Barlow. I'll tell you about that in a minute. I like the 394 here. One of the reasons is that it has identical bearings on either side and identical seals on either side. The bearings are not proprietary. The seals are not proprietary. The seals you can get aftermarket, you can get them OEM, doesn't matter. So when I think of basics for saws, I really don't like proprietary bearings. I don't like proprietary seals. I think that's all kind of silly. So I do look at these things a little bit differently than some other people do. And Ken, I actually like Echoes. Yeah, I took apart an Echo, and there were certain stuff. There's certain things about it. I'm like, hey, this is cool, and other things about it, I'm like, it's not so good. So, it's not really brand specific. It really my likes and dislikes are much more saw specific. I tend to like taking apart Husqvarnas. I think they come apart easier. But at this point, I'm really only doing the pro models. I'm not doing any of the old things like, I don't know, a Husky 36 or a 141 or the new 235s or anything like that. I'm just not doing those because for the most part, they're just not worth it to take apart. Yeah, the 394 just is such a nice saw to run. I really like it. It's big, but man, is it potent. So the 394 does have a downside. It eats coils. The darn coils get eaten. So, you know, coil every now and again. Mix and match OEM and aftermarket. Yep, I mix and aftermarket. depends on the part. So in this, I've got an OEM coil. Some other uh, types of saws, maybe an aftermarket coil would be the ticket, but this is actually a highway muffler. I like them. I like the highway mufflers for the 394s. I don't see anything wrong with using a highway muffler. Um, what else? These flags need to be OEM. The aftermarket ones break way too easy. There's more glass fiber reinforcement in here. So you really have to know your saw. You have to know your saw and you have to know the parts to figure out what is okay to use and what isn't. Mac cover snap on. Sax rotary. No. I just have no need to work on one. Just keep a stock of coils. Yep, pretty much. But they're 60, 70, 80 bucks a piece for the dang coils, so I can't keep too many of them on hand. This is about yeah, 92 cc, 95 cc, somewhere in there. 394, 395 um, is 90 to 95 cc, somewhere in there. I forget exactly. Right, Matco, or Snap On, and the answer is probably none of those because I just don't need that. I wouldn't mind owning. What I do like, I can show you something that I do like a lot. My gear wrenches. I love these things, and the most efficient way to buy these for dollars wise, the most efficient way to buy them is to buy them in the full set from full stack from Amazon. So I have what is it, quarter of an inch all the way up to inch, and then I have the metric set all the way up to 24 millimeter also. Yeah, I like tools too. Um, I like having a proper spot for them though, and clearly the basement right now is not a proper spot for pretty much anything. But I'm working on the shed. I'm working on the shed day by day, and it keeps getting better and better. So eventually, I will have hopefully power out there and have that as my little refuge. But then again, if I get the job that I'm looking at, then I don't know how much of this stuff I'll actually get to do. Who doesn't like tools? Well, if you like money in your pocket, then you don't like tools. I want a Mac Super 125. I've run the bigger saws. At Lee's, you can run like whatever you want, and he's got, everything from 880s to 3120s, Mac 797s, 125s, cart mode, this, that, the other thing. You want the Echo 1201 or whatever it is. He's got all the big stuff that you can run. And I got to be honest and say that the 394 for me is plenty big for anything that I do. The other saws run good, that's fine, but you can get parts for the 394. A lot of the other stuff you can't. It's just this is just such a nice saw. It's got nice power. It's easily serviceable, easily rebuildable. Um, it just works so well for me, I think. Like Buck and Billy Ray's shed is a completely different. He's on a different level there. I mean, I with his new place, it's definitely a different level than mine. My shed is a little more. Well, he's got decent carpenters working in his stuff. It's just me when I'm out there, and I'm just not that good of a carpenter. Yeah, and Buck and Billy Ray is also like way more entertaining than I am, so it's a different, it's just a different level. Me, I'm happy to sit here in the basement for a little bit and hang out with you guys, and um, I'll tell you guys this. David has already spoken for this saw. I was actually, if David didn't want it, I was actually considering auctioning the thing off here on live. But since David wants it, I will avoid doing that. He also charges. What do you mean charges what? Or solicits a lot more. Yeah. But once, what does he have? Like 30,000 subscribers now? See, I don't know. I like to be able to do my own thing, have my own opinions, and I'm not going to try to do the soliciting thing most. Really, the only company that's come to me was HL Supply. Highway also came to me, and we talked back and forth for a while. I think that the guy that I was talking to at Highway probably isn't there anymore, so I don't know ultimately what's going to happen with that. Does anybody know whether or not Walt got those saws, like the Hustle 660? Did they send that to him um, to evaluate? Because they have, just for the record, they have not approached me. Um, I don't really need to be working on stuff like that right now. So I mean, I'm glad Walt's doing it. It's really in his wheelhouse. People give money, you should do the same too. Hi, Nikki. Um, no, I don't need you guys to donate money. If I needed something from you guys, I'd let you know. What I do need, actually, I can talk about this. So, how did I put this? Let me just put this up here so we can chat, because this is interesting. And I made a video about this a long time ago. Does everybody remember when I hit 1,000,000 views? I gave away a chainsaw. I gave away a 360. Can you see me? No. Well, I'll stand back. Is that better? Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So I made a Hoozle 360 aftermarket chainsaw. I did the build on YouTube, and then I had guys post and say certain things, and Craig remembers this. Um, but what I wanted was a simple answer, which had to do with ads in my videos. So what I had done was I was going to do effectively a social experiment, and the experiment was um, HL Supply had offered me an affiliate link, which means that I can direct you guys to go buy stuff there if you need it. There's no pressure, okay? But direct you guys to go buy stuff there. All you have to do is click on the link, and if you go buy something at HL Supply through my link, I get credit for it. And that helps support the channel. So HL Supply has been generous to me in that way, because I end up, it doesn't come as cash, it comes as store credit. So I end up getting cool stuff like a Sujihara bar or whatever. Um, so that's, but I was trying to figure out dollars wise what was going on. So it was a couple years ago. I think this was the start of 2017. Just into 2017, I think I had hit the $100 a month mark in my advertising revenue. So once you hit $100 a month worth of advertising revenue, then you get that $100 a month dumped into your account every month, essentially. If you're making $50 a month or $25 a month in advertising revenue, it has to accrue until it hits $100, and then Google will dump it into your bank account, effectively. Um, so I December, January, I just crossed over the threshold. I was making $100 a month. Thought that was really cool. And then I was like, you know what, guys, I want to reward all my chainsaw guys, just the chainsaw guys, not everybody else. I want to reward the chainsaw guys because you guys have all been really good to me. So I'll reward you with taking all the ads down, with the caveat that I'm gonna remove all the ads. The only thing I have left is the HL supply link. And so all I'm going to ask is that guys click on the HL supply link and go buy something, because I honestly thought that with that link I would make enough to cover, the monthly whatever. I was wrong. Not by a little, but by a lot. It was like a factor of 10, and this is not due to HL Supply's stinginess. It's not that. They're very generous. Just so few people clicked on the link. So few people clicked on the link. I figured for sure there'd be somebody that went and did that, and it would be enough to cover the monthly. So as soon as I took all the ads off my chainsaw videos, just put the HL Supply link, and I did that for I think a year. I think just by doing that, lost me about $50 a month. And it may be more. It might have been more. And then I was making, whatever the $5, $10 a month, whatever it was, with the HL Supply link, because just so few people were clicking on it. So when I did the giveaway, the question was, do I put the ads back? And the unanimous decision was yes. Effectively, my subscribers would rather the ads than go and buy stuff through the link. And I thought that was fascinating. Okay, ads come back. So a lot of my, sure enough, the ads come back. Literally, this month is the first month since years ago, almost 2 years ago now. First month since almost 2 years ago now that I've finally crossed over the $100 a month ad revenue thing again. So I thought that was fascinating. But that's just, I'm going to catch up here, guys. Don't like Billy Guy's vids. Prefer the calm, non-shy approach to smaller videos. Exception for me is Pterodactyl. Yeah. Terrell has some really good stuff. I have a hard time getting around all the weirdness in the videos, but I think Terrell's got some really good stuff. The way I took it, they send them to him. Yeah, probably. I hate the guys who give great reviews of junk equipment from China. Yep. Hosel has some Waltz on their site. The Blue Saw. You need a donation button. And there's your dinner. We need to do that, all of us. I don't need a donation button. Thank you, guys. I'll be fine. Especially if I get the job. I'll be fine. It's nice if people go and buy a few things from HL Supply, because then I do get credit, and then I can buy a couple of nice toys here and there, and that keeps me motivated. I've only been aware of your channel for about a month and a half. I think you should get as much revenue as possible. Really, guys, for me, the revenue here actually has been the tools, and I'm not making tons of money, but I'm definitely making money on the tools. And for me to have at the wrong time here been out of stock on tools, Ugh. So, you know, buying stuff from HL Supply gets me toys. Buying tools really helps, and you know, I take that as a huge compliment for guys that have bought and are using them and like them. By the way, I did have a guy email me. I don't know if he's here right now, probably not, but I had a guy that emailed me that he broke one, and again he was doing it wrong. So let me illustrate this for you guys again, because apparently somebody's getting the wrong idea on how to use these. Don't ask. I don't know what's going on, but you know, but people have their own ideas on how they're supposed to be used instead of actually watching the videos and taking notes from them. So he cracked one of the rods in half. Now we've actually, because let me get it. Hang on, I'll explain. Where'd the other green saw go? Whatever. So the original small flywheel side rods, they go on the flywheel M8 or M10 if you got like a 660 or 394. The original ones had a 3/8 inch tapped center hole, and when you do this, there's very little meat. Oh shoot, sorry. When you do this, there's very little meat on here, so it does work. I've had this for a while now, and it definitely does work. But if you put too much force in the wrong way, you can crack it. So I've had two guys that crack it, and both of them did it wrong. What you're supposed to do, I'm going to bring this down here. Let's see here. Let me make sure I'm good. Get an Amazon affiliate. Yeah, I have to look into that, but thank you. Post it behind you while you're live. I could. The link is. I wonder if I can get it now. Let me see if I can get the HL link. Hang on. Yep, I got it. Try that. Okay, we're good. So, yeah, even the HL supply link, as good as it is, overall the revenue that I get from it, I do better with the tools. So if people buy tools, then I do better. Okay, so anyway, the bearings are supposed to be put properly in the crankcases first. If you put the bearing on here first, and then you try to pull this together and somehow use the tool, you're trying to then pull the bearing into the case with the tool, it's not going to work. Doing it that way defeats the purpose of the tools, because then you're automatically putting lateral forces on the bearing. You're not supposed to do that. Now, some exceptions to the rule might be some saws with bearing retainers and things. So, but still, assuming like you have a 660 and the bearing has no pocket, it's just the hole is the same diameter all the way through. What you do is you take and put the oiler down, or it might be the seal retainer on this side. put the seal retainer in or the oiler, whatever it is, and pull the bearing in with some threaded rod. Pull the bearing in until it seats. Then take your whatever it is off of here, do whatever you need to it, put your seal in, put that piece back on. But either way, then you're not waiting 10 minutes for something to heat up or whatever when you try to pull this in, or you're pulling lateral forces on the bearings. You don't want to do that. Bearings go in the crankcase. They get positioned in the crankcase first. These are tools to pull cranks through bearings. That's what they're for. That is the whole point, is to pull the crank through the inner race of the bearing with no lateral force on the bearing as safely as possible. Good way to break a case too, maybe. Recently, shipping went up with taxes added also from e-replacement parts might have gotten a warehouse or whatever in your state. If that's the case, then they're going to charge tax. Yeah, you know, only go to HL Supply if you... Hang on, I got to check for buffering here. Okay, we're not. We're good. You know, only go to HL Supply if you need something from there. You know, I'm not... Not everything HL Supply carries is something that I'd recommend. But if you need aftermarket parts or Husky parts, and it works for you to order from them, please use my link. I do appreciate it. That's all. Do I have my own website? Roughly, no. Some people would tear up an anvil. Yeah. Get a really big hammer. I do own I do own a website domain, but no, I've not built a website. There's really not a whole lot of point. I don't think the tools are such a niche product. I don't really think I need a site for that right now. With a rubber hammer. It's funny. So yeah, again, bearings positioned first, then pull the crank with the tools. The tools are not intended to help with bearing installation. That is not the intention. They are intended, or rather, the tools are not intended to help install the bearing in the case. Install the bearing in the case with whatever other tools you want. You want to do it with heat? Do it with heat. Heat the whole thing up, put the bearing in. That's up to you. You want to put it in cold? Pull it in cold. Fine. I've been doing it cold lately because with heat, I get it stuck. Anyway. I'm tired. You know what I have to do? I have another 394 case to build. I do. Maybe I'll get that set up and ready to go for tomorrow night. Then we'll have something to do tomorrow night. Yeah, so right now I don't need my own website, but maybe I'm wrong on that, you know? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if I had my own website, I'd sell tools like crazy. But I can't keep the darn tools in stock. I just haven't had I haven't had a machinist that could really supply the demand. I'm kind of hoping that these new guys can. When I have stock, everything sells much better, but I need stock. I need $1,000 to give the machinist up front. And since the guy out in Ohio has my money, Barnacle Parp's Chainsaw Guide by Walter Hall. Never seen it. Do I need to read that book? I'm going to call it a night here, guys, I think. I think we've beaten some stuff to death. If I come up with updates on anything, obviously I'll let you know. Maybe we'll go out tomorrow and run that 394 a little, if I can find a decomp to put in there. Other questions, comments, anything real quick? Okay, guys, appreciate you coming, and we'll see you. We'll probably see you tomorrow sometime. Thanks. Be safe. Okay. Good night, Ohio. Night, Craig. Night, David. Leonard.